The information was shared with the Prime Minister prior to his appointment.
So the due diligence process has effectively two parts to it. There is the identification of information and then there is judgment. On the identification of information, which is the due diligence process that was run by the Cabinet Office, I refer you to the second bullet point of my letter to Simon and this committee, where it sets out the reputational risks that were identified in relation to Jeffrey Epstein, including the media reporting. There's then a judgment about whether to make the appointment or not. And as I say, the Prime Minister has set out...
publicly available information at the time was that Mandelson and Epstein had kept a notoriously close relationship, and that in June 2009, Mandelson had stayed at Epstein's townhouse in Manhattan. That would have coincided with the time that Mandelson was UK Business Secretary and also the time that Epstein was in prison soliciting prostitution from an underage girl, a child. Both the FT and The Guardian refer to further examples of Mandelson and Epstein communications during 2009, 2010 and 2011. There are pictures of Mandelson shopping with Epstein in the Caribbean, also emerged prior to Mandelson's appointment as ambassador. And the Financial Times and the Daily Mail in 23 and 22 reported on a photo that had emerged of Mandelson celebrating a birthday at Epstein's apartment in 2007. These dates all occur after Epstein being charged in 2006 with soliciting prostitution, and after 2008 when he was pleaded guilty to charges of soliciting prostitution from a person under the age of 18.
I was well aware of his background. I was well aware of the issues that you described from previous in his career. As I've answered Ms. Anderson, the process depends upon Lord Mandelson and others in his position being open with us about the things that they fear could draw his employment into conflict of interest disrepute, and I'm confident that we were thorough about that from a conflict of interest point of view.
All of the information that I read out was shared with the Prime Minister prior to his appointment and was considered not sufficient to...
It's the information set out in bullet 2 of my letter.
Could you, just because I have quite a lot of paperwork in front of me, would you mind reading out bullet 2?
Due diligence report included a summary of his professional and financial relationships and an initial assessment of what steps may be required in order to resolve any potential conflicts of interest in order to take up the role. And then the key bullet point, a summary of reputational risks, including his previous resignations as a minister. I think previously someone suggested he was sacked. I think he in fact resigned. And his prior relationships with Jeffrey Epstein. This section included direct extracts from media reporting and notes of a general reputational risk. The only information which was not already in the public domain at the time is a reference to official records which have since been disclosed by the National Archives, which relate to a Tony Blair meeting with Epstein that was facilitated by the former ambassador at the time. A list of the former ambassador's previous political and non-political roles, and a section on internet searches which summarises news reporting available at the time. So that is what the due diligence exercise covered.
I think the answer is yes, really, then.
It is exactly as I set out in my letter.